Recording in progress.
Hi, everybody. It's Sherry with Alleged Actually. Thank you for coming back. Now, last night was Monday, which typically is our Married to Medicine recap day. But instead, we dropped a video talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, my proposed lineup, if you will, for the reboot. So, hope you guys got a chance to check that out. If you did, please make sure you comment. Let me know what your thoughts are for those Real Housewives of Atlanta fans. Let me know what you think. Who do you think should stay? Who should go? And who would you like to see brought on? But we're going to recap Married to Medicine tonight. And let me just say, guys, I thought that the episode Sunday night was actually very good. Now, it's still considered what they consider a filler episode, meaning it's leading up to next week where I think things get a little spicy. Nonetheless, let me just say that the reason that I did enjoy this episode was they did what set them apart from the housewives. They're doctors. There were so many gems, so many educational moments, so many issues that were raised, so many things that affect our community, women of certain age groups, women that are African American, women in general, you know? And that's the thing that I really enjoy about Married to Medicine. You got to respect them, guys. Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone, they're good at what they do. Dr. Heavenly, gosh, they're bosses, right? And the guys, the doctors that really care about people. So their platform is not only to entertain us, but sometimes to educate us, right? And so that was a little bit that happened on Sunday. There was a little education piece, which I was here for all of it. So let's get into it. So the episode starts off with Toya and Dr. Simone meeting for some cocktails. So Dr. Simone comes in. She's kind of had a rough day. She's ready to let her hair down a little bit. So they both order margaritas. Dr. Simone orders a regular one, and Toya orders a spicy margarita. Dr. Simone asks if she can take a little sippy sip. And then I guess she kind of takes a look at Toya's face, and she asks Toya if she's a germaphobe, which leads into the fact that Toya is really particular about her house. Particularly, I guess she's a real neat freak. And Toya goes on to tell her, yeah, I kind of get it from my mom. Like, my mom used to have us clean with bleach and ammonia at the same time. Child, all them fumes in an enclosed area. Perhaps we should give Toya some grace because, child, that's rough. That might can kill off some of the brain cells that could possibly be responsible for her deductive reasoning. Because, child, let's get into it. Let's not even belabor it, child. She's complaining again. Now, didn't I tell y'all last week? I actually even called the episode Ungrateful to Medicine because that's just simply what Toya is. Child, I don't want to call this Ungrateful to Medicine part 2, but it's more of the same. So Dr. Simone basically lets Toya in on a conversation that Dr. Eugene had with Cecil. He confided in Cecil about how he's just a little gun shy on planning dates. Toya's still hollering about he don't plan dates, not like he used to. She doesn't have anything to look forward to. Like, she wants him to just be spontaneous, put something on the calendar, so she'll have something to look forward to. And listen, we all love that, right? And to be fair, Toya and Dr. Eugene have been married 15 years. I get it. You can get in a rut, and I get one to have a little spontaneity. But gosh, she's got to be realistic. Dr. Eugene works hard. And I'm not suggesting just because a man works hard, he has to stop dating you or treating you special. Certainly, I am here for couples being intentional about making sure they put each other first, making sure they put time aside to really, date each other, keep their relationship hot, keep that spark there. I'm down for it, okay? But Toya, yet again, she's coming off as ungrateful. I really worry. I mean, let's be clear. It seems like every season she's coming for Dr. Eugene. You wonder when comes the point when Dr. Eugene maybe gets to his breaking point. I hope never, because honestly, you guys, I love Toya and Dr. Eugene together. They have beautiful sons. He seems to adore her, and I know Toya loves Dr. Eugene. I think it just kind of comes down to when you're with someone for a long period of time, you can get to the point where you start to take them for granted. So there's that. But um, Dr. Simone brings up and to prove Dr. Eugene's point. She brings up when Dr. Eugene surprised her and took her to South Carolina for her birthday. Child, she goes in about, yeah, it was the worst trip ever. Um, yeah, we were on this horse-drawn carriage, and we were going through this area where they were teaching us this history. Eugene knows I hate history. I cheated my way through history. Child, she just completely missed the mark on that one. Didn't get the point. You see Dr. Simone go into a confessional and just basically say, Toya, give the man some grace. You're coming across as ungrateful, unappreciative. But listen, if he likes it, I love it. I just don't like watching it, y'all. I hate that because I like them together, but I don't think it's attractive when she does that at all. Moving on. Then we go on over to Dr. Heavenly. She has a patient in the chair, none other than Miss TS Madison. TS Madison, the TS stands for transgendered. And for those of you that don't know, TS Madison has been an advocate for transgendered women, particularly transgendered women of color. And Dr. Heavenly says that a lot of times she enjoys being around her. Number one, because they're both from Florida, from the same county or the area. Dr. Heavenly had done T.S. Madison's Queen Court show. She had a YouTube show, which actually ended up getting her a show on WeTV. And then TS has gone on to do other things. She's had movie roles or cameos in movies. She's done some work with Beyonce. So she's making a name for herself. Anyway, Dr. Heavenly says, it's always a good educational moment when she's with TS Madison. And she is actually getting ready to put an implant in the back of her mouth. But, she talks about how when she first met T.S. Madison, she really thought that she was a biological woman. And T.S. goes on to tell her that, that's kind of what irritates her because she finds that she gets the least amount of support or understanding, if you will, from other Black women. And I'm sure there's a host of reasons. I mean, y'all, we could debate it. There's been some stuff with T.S. Madison on social media, kind of going back and forth, or not even really her going back and forth, but her co-signing on some other transgendered women that have kind of got into it with other Black women. It's one of those things that I don't understand, but Dr. Heavenly enjoys T.S. Madison because of the fact that she can ask her whatever questions and, she's open and honest and that dialogue is good. At best, it's understanding that's needed. More of it is needed. Education is needed. And those open communication and conversation should be had. So that was a nice scene. From there, we go on over to Dr. Jackie's office where she also has a patient. And her patient's name is Sheikah. And we come to find out that she's a breast cancer survivor, just like Dr. Jackie. And Dr. Jackie has done a checkup with her and run her labs. Come to find out her cholesterol is high. And not just a little high, but high enough that puts her at risk for heart disease. A contributing factor to that, she says, is the fact that her patient is overweight. And so she talks to her about starting the medication, semaglutide, which is Most of us know it as Ozempic or Wegovy. Transparent moment. I take Ozempic. And I'll talk about what they actually divulge about the drug as we get to it. And then, guys, I've been on it for almost 4 years. I took a break for about 6 months. And guys, let me know in the comments if you want me to give you some information on my journey with Ozempic. I'd be happy to. I initially lost 60 pounds. I gained 20 of it, and now I'm back on it, and I'm back down 17 pounds. So I would like to lose another 10 to 15 pounds. But neither here nor there. Like I said, if you want me to come on and do a video to address Ozempic or semaglutide, put it in the comments. I'll be happy to. But for the sake of this, we're going to stick to married medicine. So Dr. Simone also has a patient, and her name is Rashida. And she also was on semaglutide, but she has come off of it. She's been off of it for 3 to 4 weeks because she is interested in getting ready to have a baby. Now, for her, Dr. Simone is more concerned with her age. The fact that she did tell her that, yes, if you plan to be pregnant, you cannot be on Ozempic and be pregnant. So weaning yourself off of it, good idea. But her age, she was 43 years old, I believe it was, 42 or 43. And she said that her age would be her biggest risk factor. She wanted to, both of them like to give their patients a lot of education and make sure they understand everything, about their situations, worst case, best case scenarios. And so they have the conversation that if in fact that she was to go on and her and her husband become pregnant, that if for some reason there was, because women past 35 are at higher risk for giving birth to children with birth defects and or complications of pregnancy that where the baby's not viable to carry. And so they talk about that and come to find out that Georgia is a heartbeat law, meaning at a certain point in your pregnancy, particularly when the baby's heartbeat can be heard, you are no longer able to terminate a pregnancy. Now, this is a controversial topic, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But Georgia is one of those states where it's just, even for medical reasons, if the baby was going to be born unalive, in Georgia, you cannot terminate your pregnancy. So Rashida, her patient, would literally have to leave Georgia to do so, should that be the case. Now, of course, naturally, Dr. Simone says she has nothing but the best intentions to deliver a healthy baby. But, she wanted to arm her with all that information. And her patient says, regardless of that, me and my husband would be prepared to carry the baby to term. And so it's that. Now, Dr. Simone went on to also talk about the fact that semaglutide was so popular now, and it is. And y'all, when I first started taking it, it was due to an insulin resistance issue I had. I was quite overweight, similar to Dr. Jackie's patient. Let me just say it works. But again, let me just say, I'm going to keep that for a separate video if you guys want to hear more. But when Dr. Simone said that the fact that this particular drug was initially put on the market to help those that are diabetic, control their blood sugar, the fact that so many patients and so many individuals are using it solely for weight loss, that's caused a shortage. With that being said, I can certainly co-sign on that because trying to get it is really hard. So Like I said, put it in the comments if you want me to talk about it, y'all. I'm not going to belabor y'all with my stuff. But if you want to hear about it, put it in the comments and I will definitely come on and give you guys a video talking about my experience with Ozempic. And so again, here we have information on the fact that cholesterol leads to heart disease, the fact that her patient was morbidly obese and she was going to put her on semaglutide, the fact that the same with Dr. Simone's patient, she also agreed that, there are some issues with that particular drug. It does cause headaches, slow digestion, constipation, some other symptoms, but they both agree that the pros outweigh the cons. And even Dr. Simone said if she was to ever get overweight, she would certainly take it too. So there's that. So guys, from there, we going over to Toya and Eugene. They are at the orthodontist with their sons, Ashton and Avery. Little Ashton, who is so much like his mom. He looks like Toya, and he's got Toya's mouth. But he basically was telling Toya that girls don't like smart boys. They just kind of like the athletes or the jocks, as Toya said. And Dr. Eugene tells the boys, well, I was smart in school and I was an athlete. And Ashton comes back and says, Dad, you ran track and you got lucky. Showing that little bit of Toya in that mouth. Anywho, so at that point, Eugene tells the boys, well, now that we're talking about dating, in fact, I'm dating your mom. And then Toya wants to hop in there and say, yeah, and your dad took me to a butcher. Y'all saw that episode the week, not this week, but last week. That was not a butcher shop. There was a whole restaurant experience, a whole private chef, a whole place to themselves. Why? Why, Toya? Listen, all I can say is I really hope, and I mean, this is not, like I said, it's not like it's new. She's done this on other seasons, but I kind of hope that the backlash that she's received from this, maybe going back and watching it will help her realize how ungrateful she sounds. Nonetheless, they go on to have the boys be seen by an African American orthodontist who was a Howard man. Go Bisons. I love them HBCUs. Again, I'm going to shout it out every time we talk HBCUs because I went to one of the best, North Carolina A&T State University. Can I get an Aggie pride? Anywho, so they basically talked to them about, doing liners versus braces. And the real takeaway, Toya and Eugene are in a confessional screen where they're talking about, she wonders what life will be like when the boys grow up and are out of the house. And I think that's why she's stressing the whole dating thing. I mean, let's be clear. A lot of couples, once their kids grow up, particularly when you've spent the majority of your marriage raising children, as time goes on, we grow, we evolve. And you wonder, like, do you have anything in common outside of your kids? So I understand her wanting Eugene and her to be intentional about spending time together, about making moments special and quality time. I get it. I just think she can give the man a little grace. He works very hard and he works hard to supplement and help with that lifestyle. I mean, really, he's the provider. I'm not saying Toya doesn't bring in a check or two, but I'm saying Dr. Eugene is a provider. So cut the man some slack, child. From there, we going over to Sweet Tea and Dr. G. So Dr. G is going to accompany Sweet Tea to go back to the doctor and to get her MRI results from Dr. Davis. So they're still talking. Guys, all right, let me just ask you guys, is it just me? Or does it seem like Sweet Tea, when she talks about really wanting to have a baby, the way she says it seems like it's almost like she owes Dr. G. She keeps saying, I just want to give you this baby. I really want to give you this baby. I really need to have this baby. It's not, her intensity seems as if she owes it to Dr. G in order to keep him. Am I wrong, y'all? Because I mean, it would kind of be different if she was like, y'all, I'm so ready to be a mom. My biological clock is ticking. All I ever wanted was to be a mother. And I mean, she says sort of some things to that effect, but child, when she is, the intensity behind, I want to give you this baby. I want to give you this baby leads me to believe. I mean, listen, we all know she slid in his DMs with the baby emoji saying, I can give you what Quad couldn't. And there's been some debates. I'm not going to do it because I don't think it's appropriate, but different people have debated on whether she knew she had these issues before she slid into Dr. G's DMs or before she married him. Y'all, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. They are married now. Dr. G keeps saying that his main concern is her health. But if you notice when he's in confessional, he kind of looks shell-shocked, like, what have I gotten myself into? He made the statement not this Sunday, but last Sunday about how his age at 56, if he's going to have a child, he really wants to have one now, understandably with his age. You want to see your children grow up. And honey, none of us know how long we're going to be here. But statistically, at 56 to have a baby, that's on the older side. I don't know. I look at his face and I wonder. And it's been said, I mean, I'm sure he loves Sweet Tea. I think they make a nice couple, but I wondered if he was certain or if he really understood what he was getting into. Anyway, so Dr. Davis goes over the MRI with them, and they have questions about, her pain in her back, particularly Dr. G asks. So she puts the MRI up and she shows a cyst that's kind of infringing on the uterine wall. And she says that with where it's placed, that this could certainly prohibit her from getting pregnant. And she pretty much lets them know that it's time for her to have surgery. I thought, y'all, that was pretty clear last week, but if it wasn't, she certainly made it clear. Sweet Tea's definitely going to have surgery. She needs the surgery. But she goes on to let her know it will be not as invasive. It'll be robotically done, laparoscopic. And that's another thing. Like, I love again how, if there was a woman out there that's, dealing with endometriosis or cyst, even hearing this, I mean, knowing you're not alone, getting to hear the options and the way surgery goes. And then they talk about her recovery time and the fact that she would have to wait 6 months before she could literally try to get pregnant, which she makes the comment she doesn't want to keep it from Dr. G for 6 months. And he just basically says, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. But did y'all see his face? I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm looking too hard, child, and that's possible. But I don't know. I think that he thought he was getting a young wife that would be able to bear his children, maybe more than one. And she has a few health issues. But I mean, sometimes we can't, well, all the times we can't help the cards we're dealt, right? But I don't know. He just kind of looks, I don't know. Am I wrong, guys? Put it in the comments if you think so. Anyway, we're gonna leave that alone. Ciao. Next scene. I don't mean no harm, but I'm so tired of Cecil and Dr. Simone going to see them boys at that condo. Let them boys live. Child, they done moved in. You done bought it. They in there. Let them boys have it. Child, they're on their way to celebrate. The boys have made dinner. Not a lot there that I'm even going to unpack, other than they do this cute flashback of the boys as they grow up. And one of the good things about watching these shows from the beginning is you do get to see their kids grow up. We see Dr. Heavenly's daughter, Alora, who's now going off to college. She was a little girl when they started. Michael and Miles also were younger boys when they started, and now both of them are in college. I mean, what I love is, they do have the whole family unit. Their kids do well. It's refreshing to see. Child, that's all I'm going to take from that. Moving on. Dr. Jackie's PSA. So, Dr. Jackie, in support of her initiative to change the statistics on maternal mortality rates in African Americans, she has invited all the ladies to be a part of her PSA. And this is in conjunction with the initiative that she's spoken to our Vice President, Kamala Harris, on. And first to arrive are Dr. Simone and Dr. Heavenly. And Dr. Heavenly sits in the chair first. Child, she's reading that teleprompter, struggling a little bit, but I mean, like anytime you sit in a chair, it's a little pressure. I mean, even me sometimes here, like I get choked up on my words, child. I'm trying, but listen, it happens, right? Anywho, then trickling in comes Toya, Dr. Alicia, and Sweet Tea. And then bringing up the rear is Phaedra. And so Toya plops down after Dr. Heavenly's done, when Dr. Simone is like, literally, no, ma'am. She's like, what you're not about to do is sit in that chair and do your part. When I've been here, you rolled in late. So Dr. Jackie happily escorts Toya out the seat, and Dr. Simone does her part. Now, meanwhile, the ladies are talking amongst themselves, and Sweet Tea divulges while she's reading over, the PSA script, that it makes her sad. And I can imagine so, guys. I mean, she is dealing with the fact that she has conditions that can cause possibly her to either not be able to conceive, or certainly her to have a long way to go to do so, and decrease her chances of doing so. So I'm sure there's a lot on her mind. And for her to be a part of that was a sacrifice, I'm sure. But she divulges to the ladies that not only does she have endometriosis, but she also has sarcoidosis, which is an issue where your lymph nodes, and she says they swell so big in her chest that sometimes she can't breathe. And, again, Sweet Tea is young. And like I said, they said 32, 33. She's in her early 30s, guys. And that's a shame. Toya even makes the comment, here she is at the prime time of her life where she should be enjoying her marriage, getting ready for motherhood. She has all of these issues. And Toya certainly, lends her heart out to her, and as do I. That's tough. And then to have to really, I mean, it's good of her to share that on this platform because she's not alone. There are other women out there that are going through the same thing. So shout out to Sweet Tea for being so transparent. So then, guys, from there, we go on over to the guys. So the husbands are getting together at the spot called the Cigar City Club. Now, guys, excuse me for a second. I just want to know, are you guys concerned that the only time we see Curtis now is if he's getting together with the husbands? Seems like everybody else's husband films with them in a day-to-day. You only see Curtis either in a confessional following a gathering with the husbands or just with the husbands. Now, let me just be clear. I did watch last night the live with Carlos King and Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly says they are, in fact, not separated. When Carlos kept kind of hammering in, trying to get that tea, like, it just seems a little suspect. Dr. Heavenly maintained that he has property in the Dominican Republic. He's there on business. He's been busy, child. So we're going to let her have it. It seems a bit suspect to me, but we'll just keep an eye on that. Anywho, honey, the takeaway from the guys getting together. Dr. Kema. Y'all, Can you say Neanderthal? So anyway, they start off with Curtis kind of like speaking to Dr. G, letting him know, man, you still look happy. Are you happy? And he says he is. And then he kind of goes back over to the green screen where he's kind of confessional, where he's just kind of like, you know, we are having some fertility issues, but but for the most part, I mean, let's be clear. Dr. G seems to love sweet tea and he seems happy. And then Curtis, not realizing what they are going through, says, so let me get this straight. Dr. G, you're a twin, and Sweet Tea's a twin. So you guys may have 4 kids at once or 8. And Dr. G says, it'd be great if we had 2 at one time. Oh, I mean, they're not privy to the fact that they're having a hard time conceiving, or at least it doesn't seem like it. So that was kind of rough. I mean, and I don't know about y'all, but I didn't realize Dr. Gregory was a twin. That was some info. So yeah, I mean, something that him and Sweet Tea have in common. But as the night goes on, child, the spotlight goes to Dr. Kema, who is the husband of Dr. Alicia. Now remember, Dr. Alicia is also a dentist, but she has opted to stay home with her children. Dr. Kema is Nigerian. He talks about his Nigerian roots, where basically he is taught that the man is to be the leader. And child, not only at the home, but I mean, just to be superior over women. He really has an antiquated way of gender roles or perceiving gender roles. Honey, you can tell the other husbands are not here for it. They're older and wiser. But listen, that's his upbringing. Ew. He basically tells the guys, if your woman doesn't listen to you, you're a weak man. And he says that he generalizes and said that American men, need to man up. That he's tired of seeing it. That women run the world here, and American men need to just man up. Said that he could not imagine, and he also claims he's from the old school. That's an understatement. But he says that American women have been running things too long, child. Really? Okay. And he refuses to have his nutsack cut off. Are you sure? Because if you keep talking like that, it could happen. Well, honey, after that statement, Dr. Damon's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You saying that is an implication that you think that none of us, meaning the rest of the men at the table, have their nuts intact. Fair, wasn't it? And he's like, well, I mean, no. So Dr. Damon shares with him that he's, grew up, he's Caribbean, and that, there were some of the same things also in his culture. However, he's like, it's not fair to generalize all American men. And he says, hey, if you want to rule your household, so be it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, listen, I'm happy to let my man lead to a degree. So, but let's be clear. The way Dr. Kema was talking, no, sir. So Dr. Eugene hops in there, being the nice guy that he is, and he talks about how women are still not paid the same as men. They're not treated as fairly as men. I mean, we have to work twice as hard to compete with our male counterparts. So indeed, Dr. Eugene, shout out to you for bringing that to his attention. Doubt it makes any difference, but you see all the guys go to their confessionals with their wives when he said that that if his woman didn't listen, that would be like him having his nutsack cut off, and they all were like, well, their nuts are intact. So in other words, honey, you can be a man and have a strong woman by your side. Listen, we can listen to each other. What's wrong with that? Nothing. So at any rate, honey, they go on, whatever. We're going to hear more from him. And basically, that scene wraps up, and the way the show ends is we go back and we see the PSA, which was beautifully done, which again, like I said, brings light to a great cause where I pray the statistics start to trend in a different direction. Guys, it's a lot of African women are dying in childbirth. And we really need to have that spotlight on why, whether it's better prenatal care, better postnatal care. I mean, not even postnatal, during childbirth, being understanding, what you're predisposed to, high blood pressure, preeclampsia, things of that sort, education, right? And early prenatal care. Okay. So that there's a doctor tracking you from as soon as you find out. Okay. All those things. But guys, that was the episode. Let's just say next week looks like it's going to be that show. And according to the live on Dr. Heavenly and Carlos's live that they do when they recap, things are about to get a lot more spicy. So I'm gonna need you to come back. Now, look, I'll be on my regular time next week. So Monday is gonna be my Married to Medicine recap. So come on back Monday. Now, tomorrow, I will be back to do 90 Day Single Life with my co-star Bria and the Real Housewives of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. There's so many, y'all. But Salt Lake City comes on tonight, and I'll be recapping that tomorrow. This is the last portion of Reunion Part 3. Somebody's going to figure out how Heather got that black eye. Child, come on back. And then Thursday is Married at First Sight Denver. And then, of course, Saturday we do Pop Culture Saturday. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much, everyone that has provided comments and feedback. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and hit that notification button. So when we upload this